What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Now kick back, relax, and come take a ride with me. South Carolina just invaded LSU and took a win in an instant classic, 76-70. Bree Hall, the unsung hero, knocking down two big tray balls late to seal the deal, and then Raven Johnson put the dagger in on the Gamecocks' final possession with a layup to just put the game out of reach. We talked about South Carolina's depth. They fouled Angel Reese out the game, and it completely changed the dynamic of this matchup. As we saw, LSU did some great things. They honestly played good enough to win this game. They were in charge. They had a handle on it. For majority of the game, they were on top of South Carolina, giving the Gamecocks everything they could handle. We thought. But before we get into all that, make sure y'all hit the subscribe button for all the latest and the greatest, and join our memberships. We got that exclusive content coming daily, weekly, whenever you need it. Now, let's get into it.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
LSU came out, and I said in my previous video, they had to come out and punch the Gamecocks in the mouth, and that's what we saw from them. LSU had a 24-18 lead after the first quarter. They came out making shots. Angel Reese was imposing her will. Flau'jae Johnson played a great first half as well. Anissa Morrow got hot in the first quarter, and we talked about how she had to come out and make some jump shots, and that's exactly what she did, stretching the floor and playing the perimeter, man. Her and Chloe Kitts was a great matchup because Chloe Kitts came out firing as well and was in double digits in the first half, and she was one of the unsung heroes for South Carolina that kept this game close and didn't let it get out of reach. Looking at the stats, South Carolina shot a higher field goal percentage, shooting 47.7% from the field, and finally hitting some three-pointers in the second half. They were cold, especially Tahina Pau. They finished 7 of 13 from the three, 35%. But they did shoot 53% from the line, which was better than LSU at 44%. LSU shot 44.8% from the field, 6 of 18. They kind of slowed down in the second half, as we saw. They were dominating the rebounding battle for majority of the game, but you know that front court of South Carolina, Camila Cardoso especially, got active on the glass, got more aggressive, and they end up winning the rebounding battle 43-39. LSU did a good job of moving the basketball, though. I will say that the guards did a really good job, and they had a lot of give-and-go plays. They were running a lot of offense, so I liked how they were sharing the basketball. Finished with 17 and 15. The blocks, it was a block party. Camila Cardoso blocking Angel Reese. Angel Reese blocking Camila Cardoso. And we seeing the stare downs. We talked about the turnovers. This was a battle of that one category I thought South Carolina would win was the turnover margin. But LSU forced more turnovers. Both teams really had a balanced attack. And what we expected, LSU only went 7 deep, while South Carolina went 9 deep. Shout out to Flau'jae Johnson. She just did an incredible job on Tahina Pau. She ended up getting hot, though, in the fourth quarter, finished with 12 points and 6 assists. That was a hard-earned 12 and 6. Raven Johnson was the unsung hero. 13 points, 4 assists, 9 rebounds. This is one of the most aggressive games I've seen her play. She was definitely hunting her shot, attacking, getting those paint touches, not afraid to get down low and finish at the cup over the trees of LSU. So you love to see that, just the aggressiveness. And she continues to have a really good sophomore season. Didn't shoot it particularly well, but she made the most of her paint touches. Camila Cardoso was held scoreless in the first quarter and then ended up finishing with 11 points and 8 rebounds and 2 assists. Those 8 rebounds were huge. She also had a handful of blocks. We talked about Bree Hall, the unsung hero. 2 huge three-pointers. 10 points, 5 rebounds for her, and she really was the difference maker for this team, helped them win the game. We mentioned Chloe Kitts, 14 points, 3 rebounds for her. Just a balanced effort right there for the Gamecocks. And we got to talk about Malaysia Fulwiley, who came off the bench with an 8-point spurt and just gave this lineup a jolt of energy. She brought the juice off the bench and hit a big three-pointer in the first half that really, it felt like, changed the momentum of the game. They were down double digits. The Gamecocks were trailing by as much as 11, and Malaysia Fulwiley came in, brought the defense, causing turnovers, was smothering opposing ball handlers, especially Haley Van Lith giving her fits. And then she came in and really gave them a lift off the bench, making some big three-pointers, getting some points in transition. You know what I'm saying? So it was exciting to see the freshmen step up in this game. And, a lot of expectations come when you're labeled as a generational talent. But I will tell you, Malaysia Fulwiley came out and was a real difference maker. Just a jolt of energy, instant offense for South Carolina, and really provided a spark to get that offense going. But I was really impressed with the guards. Raven Johnson was exceptional on both sides of the ball. They were pressuring the basketball, wearing LSU guards down, you know what I'm saying, being disruptive, especially in the second half, being very disruptive, forcing turnovers, not giving up too many easy looks. LSU was really working for them buckets. But we mentioned the perimeter scoring would have to be there. Bree Hall, Pow, shout out to Flage, did an incredible job on her for 3 quarters. She eventually got loose and started hitting some shots of her own. So you love the guard play. Ashlyn Watkins came off the bench and had a big layup late in the game. And it just shows you that South Carolina, none of these players are afraid of the big moment or to take the big shot. You know what I'm saying? They don't necessarily have one go-to closer, but they got multiple players who are not afraid of the big moment, and it was a total team effort for South Carolina. We saw them sharing the basketball, the depth, them throwing bodies at LSU and rotating. And on LSU side, shout out to LSU in that starting 5. They got what they needed out of them for the most part. They played heavy minutes, and this game could have went totally different. Angel Reese was having a dominant performance. Before she fouled out, Angel Reese had 15 points and 8 rebounds. They broke the streak of the double-double, but she absolutely would have had a double-double in this contest. She was way more effective against Cardoso than I thought she would be. Just being strong, they brought double teams. She finished through it. She finished through contact. They could not keep her off the glass. She was showing the mid-range jumper. Like, Angel Reese was turned up. Michaela Williams hit some big shots as well. She was not hitting threes, though. It was the 3-point shot was broke for majority of the game, and then she came in and hit a huge one late in the game to give LSU a lead for then, before South Carolina came in. Bria Hall, they were matching. Michaela Williams and Haley Van Lith were matching threes, but hey, Bria Hall was getting it done. Michaela Williams, though, 12 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. Haley Van Lith, 13 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. Anissa Morrow was spectacular, 10 rebounds, 16 assists. 16 points, 3 assists, and she battled through some foul trouble as well. I mentioned that last Terpoa, Angel Elia Del Rosario would have to play some minutes and be impactful. Del Rosario, 7 rebounds. She had a big and one. She missed the free throw, but she had a big and one, and just showing some. It was just showing some grit. It's not easy matching up with a perennial talent like Camila Cardoso, and Del Rosario did what she could to hold her own. Flage Johnson continues to be incredible. The defensive job that she did on Pow, I have to continue to mention that. She also had some big 3-pointers and some big buckets, a nice Euro in the first half, getting to the cup, bringing the energy. I love what I saw from Flage. 10 points, 1 assist, 3 rebounds. And we just saw this starting 5 give everything they had. You know what I'm saying? And I mentioned Poa, she came in, had a costly turnover, was kind of weak with the basketball. The next possession, she did hit a big 2, but she was still taken out of the game. And I mentioned as a freshman, they were going to attack her. They were going to be physical. And she hadn't seen, a defense like this. And they were forcing turnovers. It might have been a little bit intimidating for the freshmen. But that starting 5, who we thought that Kim Mulkey would rely on, they didn't get all the foul calls. A lot of them went the other way. And that's not to say that I'm not blaming the refs. I'm not saying that the foul differential was that huge, because it wasn't. But it was some crucial fouls, especially with Angel Reese getting called for that fifth foul. And the more plays that Haley Van Lith made, she made some huge plays. She hit a huge 3-pointer to tie this game. Anissa Morrow hit her with a crazy assist falling backwards. When we were, in my mind, I was thinking, man, LSU's in trouble at that moment. And Haley Van Lith came up big, but she also had some costly turnovers, and one of them led to a transition foul, which got Angel Reese up out of the game. So it was everything I expected. You know what I'm saying? LSU had a really, really nice home crowd. There was a lot of noise. The energy was unmatched. You had Aaliyah Boston in the crowd going crazy for South Carolina. Like, this is the type of environment that you want to see. And I think we learned a lot from both teams. One, they are both going to continue to get a lot better. And I see this being a rematch in the SEC championship game in the tournament. I think both of these teams have the capability to go to the Final Four. LSU, we learned, has to get something out of that bench, though. Like, going 5 deep for majority of the game, we saw Angel Reese foul out, and they were hurt. This was a major loss, and they didn't really recover. We got to see more players in this rotation give more production to these starters so they can at least get a breath. LSU looked tired at times, rightfully so, Angel Reese was looking gassed. Haley Van Lith at times, they were getting worn down. South Carolina went to the bench early and kept rotating bodies and throwing different matchups at LSU. I mean, you got Camila Cardoso out there. You got Ashlyn Watkins you got to deal with. Fegan was out there. Chloe Kitts was out there. Like, that front court, they just kept throwing bodies at Anissa Morrow. And shout out to Morrow. I kind of thought that she would have more trouble scoring at the rim, but she just really used those perimeter skills, getting it off the dribble, still finding ways to be effective at the cup. I was impressed with her still being impactful on the boards. You know what I'm saying? She's just a natural talent at rebounding the basketball. But this just continues the losing streak. It's been over a decade. South Carolina hasn't lost to LSU since 2012. And with the latest rivalry renewed, Kim Mulkey's 0-2 now against Dawn Staley. And South Carolina losing at home is tough, and they do not get the monkey off their back. South Carolina still looking like big sis in the equation of things. I think both these teams performed, though. Big-time players made big-time plays. And it was just incredible to see how South Carolina, you never know whose night it's going to be. Like, it was a total team effort. Bree Hall had a horrible shooting first half and really just kept being confident, stayed with it. Her teammates kept trusting her, and she rewarded them with 2 huge 3-pointers to close this game out. Love what I saw, like I said, from Raven Johnson. South Carolina really struggled to really get a rhythm. I think the offense kind of had to settle in, especially in the first quarter. They did not look like the South Carolina we've grown accustomed to seeing. LSU played incredible defense and was just getting after them, disrupting the offense, and didn't let South Carolina establish any type of flow at the beginning of the game. And, not saying the intensity died down, but fatigue set in. I mean, you got starters out there playing 35-plus minutes, and they're only getting a couple minutes to get a quick blow, and they're right back on the court. You know what I'm saying? So I think that hurt LSU. We talked about how they needed to rely a little bit on those role players, those freshmen, and they did. But that depth of South Carolina, we talked about how it will wear LSU down, how they could potentially get them in foul trouble. We saw Angel Reese. We saw Anissa Morrow battle foul trouble. You know what I'm saying? Too many bodies. South Carolina just kept sticking with it. They took LSU's best shot, punch after punch after punch, and they did not get knocked out. They just kept fighting. Coach Dawn Staley stayed resilient with this team. She knew what they were capable of, and she just trusted her players, and they rewarded her. But I was just impressed, man, just overall from the effort from South Carolina. It was an incredible effort from LSU as well. This game lived up to the hype. to the billing. I think this is probably going to break Ohio State and Iowa's record for the most watched game this season. Like, that was incredible from start to finish. It felt like South Carolina was on the ropes literally until the last couple of minutes in the fourth quarter, man. They just kept scrapping. They just kept fighting. They had been there before. You could tell they had been down before. They never got flustered. They never got shaken up. They never got deterred. South Carolina kept fighting, and they come away with a win and stay undefeated. They are the only undefeated team in the nation. But I think this is a game both teams can build off on as they continue to go through SEC play and look ahead to a potential tournament run. I think this is a game that both teams can learn and build off of and continue to improve. We saw some great things. We saw some bad things. You know, both teams can work on a lot of different areas now that we're seeing it. I know I said South Carolina had no weaknesses, but we kind of saw tonight that they can, be slowed down. That, free throw shooting is a real issue. The fact that LSU was giving them open threes in the first half, and they absolutely were not falling. They had a lot of their shooters had cold shooting nights up until the fourth quarter, but they stuck with it. They were resilient, and that's what we expect from Coach Don Staley. South Carolina obviously looking like the best team in the nation still. There were a lot of mixed reviews, a lot of different comments going on. I will say if LSU would have won this game, this would not have been an upset. We're talking about the defending champs, a top 10 team at the crib playing in front of a packed out, sold out crowd. Man, that was hostile territory. South Carolina delivered once again. And it's just, that was a heck of a game, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed it as much as I did. That was a heck of a game. No matter who you're rooting for, that's the type of basketball you want to see. The competitiveness, the sportsmanship, you know what I'm saying? Just the sheer determination, the focus by both teams, just continuing to make play after play after play. I loved what I saw from both sides, and I think both these teams are going to have a lot to say when it comes to March. Y'all holler at me in the comments, though, and let me know how y'all feel about the situation. That's a wrap for us. For all the latest and the greatest, I'm Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV. Until next time, hey, we out.